XRP and the Fed, why the next rate move could explode Ripple's rally. If the Fed makes the wrong move next month, XRP could either 10x or get crushed into the ground. Listen up, the Fed's next decision isn't just about interest rates anymore. It could make or break XRP's next mega move. You heard that right. While everyone's focused on stock markets and Bitcoin, Ripple is playing a quiet game behind the scenes. And the Fed might just tip the scale. Today, I'm breaking down why XRP holders need to watch this closely, how it ties into the rate policy, and what could trigger the next big breakout or crash. Let's dive in. Well, the very first question, how does something like a 25 basis point cut or a hold by the Fed affect XRP's price? And you need to understand, just in general, whenever the interest rates are lowered, that means that it's cheaper to get money, obviously, because the interest rate basically dictates on how much percent people can get credits, investor loans, mortgages, just in general, everything that has to do with interest, right? So if it's lower, you get better rates. If it's too high, no one will take a loan, right? For example, right now in Germany, for example, you are at 4, 5, 6%. I don't think you get anything lower than 4, maybe 3.8 if you have a very good record. So it's very expensive to lend money. So therefore, people are not investing so much because most of the investments, most of the businesses, most of the things that happen in the economy still is based a lot on other people's money, on money that is lent by banks, right? So if we lower the interest rates, we have cheaper money for investors. So lower borrowing costs encourage investors obviously to invest, especially into higher risk assets, which are cryptos and especially XRP. If we have a weak dollar, right? So if the Fed cuts the basis points, we have a weaker dollar, a stronger crypto markets, because if the Dixie goes down, crypto goes up, because we are trading BTC to USD, we are trading XRP to USD. We always have the main currency of reserve behind these currency pairs, XRP, USD. So if we have a weaker dollar, right, we need less, so XRP goes high. And then we have improved sentiment via macro signals. So if basis points are cut, investors, brokers, everything that runs the economy at the end of the day is more into investing. Then we also have on-chain and technical signals. So when whales are holding more XRP, that's obviously a very positive one, which if you are a whale, you have access to a lot of institutionalized money or money in general, or you can lend money. Then if you believe in that, people will put more money into that, right? So that is very important to understand, that the next Fed cut or basis point cut or a hold could either continue to stagnate the markets and hold the markets, or even cause a sell-off, or on the other side, obviously increase the markets. So more volume comes in, more US dollar comes in, because US dollar is cheaper, because people are still paying with US dollar for Ripple, for Bitcoin, for all of these currencies. So now that US banks are permitting and interacting more with the Ripple net, right, XRP becomes a global player in payment. That's what people think now. Many people don't understand that Ripple Lab at the end of the day consists out of certain, let's say, part companies or different endeavors. One of them is the coin XRP, the native coin. Then you have Ripple Net. So you don't really need XRP that much for Ripple Net natively to use the chain. It could still spark a higher XRP price because of the usage, because of obviously fundamentals, news, all of these kind of deals. If Ripple Net, if Ripple in general becomes more popular, XRP also will rise in that. So it will have a correlation effect for sure, but not directly, especially when we speak about the integration of revolutionizing, for example, the SWIFT system, these kind of things which Ripple stands for, transacting money over the world, across borders and so on, right? XRP actually is not needed that much. Now, that's something that people don't understand, but it's still something that obviously impacts the price. So therefore, obviously, it would be positive if people in the future adopt crypto more. We just had the Genius Act in America that allows companies for stable coins to hold stable coins, buy stable coins, approve payments in stable coins, which is amazing. So they're gonna use different chains, right? And one of them is the Ripple Net that offers especially these transactional benefits instead of the common and conventional SWIFT system, monetary system where currencies need to be exchanged and so on. If we now take obviously the opposite side, let's say inflation surpasses and then goes higher, we don't have any basis cut points, then obviously most people will less invest in crypto, therefore also less invest in XRP. But we still have a very fundamental good upside, and that's the one we just outlined, which is especially that the use case for XRP actually is there, or basically for the company itself, right? And if we invest into assets, you kind of then need to see XRP as a stock of this very company, because that's going to be the only way of people to participate in that. So in a normal company, let's say they have a product, they have a use case, right? People want to use it, the product is going to be more adopted, whatever. Then people want to buy stocks of this company because they want to invest and have success with this company because their product is good. The same way you can think of Ripple, right? But if we should have more inflation, if we should have an escalation escalation of a war, therefore oil prices higher, therefore inflation higher, therefore people are struggling with money financially, then they won't invest so much in riskier stuff, rather go risk off like gold, silver, commodities, which I'm doing personally a lot right now, just because there is a lot of turmoil on this planet right now. Just there's a lot of uncertainty, and we just haven't seen any of these big pumps anymore in crypto because that's risk investment. But also at the same time, we went very degenerative with meme coins. That's why most people now investing into meme coins, because you have more upside. Obviously, we know as investors and traders, because we are smart, that we have more downside on that, because it's actually harder to make money with that than with altcoins, XRP and so on. That's why XRP was into this run basically my number one position and still one of my largest positions. Now, when it comes to regulation, as I just said, I truly believe we won't have any headwinds anymore, but more tailwinds. As the airplane flies through the sky, if we have a tailwind, it supports its flight direction. Therefore, for example, when you fly from America to Europe, it's always faster because you mainly have jet streams, so tailwinds, it pushes the plane forward. Opposite, then obviously vice versa, is headwinds, right? It makes it harder for the plane to fly through the air because these winds are hitting the head, right? And the same thing is on a regulatory standpoint when it comes to crypto. If regulation continues to tighten everything and make everything harder, which again, I don't truly believe. We are seeing the Genius Act, we are seeing a lot of different acts and parliamental laws passing, making crypto easy, adopting as a reserve currency, adopting for USDT, for in general stable coins. So I think there's a lot of more to come for crypto, so that's very positive. And one of the cryptocurrencies is going to benefit the most of it is especially crypto, just because of its insanely well-funded standpoint in the, let's say, institutional world, in the banking world, in the use case also for especially these transactional systems where Ripple comes in perfectly and makes these faster, cheaper, better, more secure. They have pilot projects, they have trust, they are big companies, they have survived a lawsuit against the SEC for them wanting to be regulated as a security. They want that. So there's no real headwind for XRP in my opinion, but only tailwind, which is gonna make it fly even easier through the charts. My game plan definitely is to have a solid strategy and continuously buying XRP, increasing my positions. It's not anymore my largest because I realized a lot of gains in XRP over the last couple of months. Basically at the top, I sold about 70% of my holdings. Once I sold 30, then again 30, and then again 10, because price just couldn't go higher. And I am in the market mainly for gains, right? I'm a trader, I'm an investor. I want to gain from the market. I want to make more money, use that money and buy beautiful things, right? So at the end of the day, that's what is important for me. But there's always going to be a certain big amount of my portfolio which is going to go into XRP. Investments are going to go into XRP. And especially at these low prices we are right now, at the 50% correction level, which is an entry level for the bullish scenarios, for the price to go up, is just perfect. So in my opinion, the strategy should be, with good risk management, to continue to invest into XRP. This is obviously my opinion as a professional trader investor, not a financial advice. Okay, Fed decisions incoming, XRP about to act, bank adoption rising, a perfect setup. Comment below. If the Fed cuts, do you double down on XRP, shift to stablecoins, or dump into BTC? Let's open the debate. The comments are free. Let's get it. Subscribe if you want more real crypto strategies and analysis from someone that really invests and trades and makes money, a living off it. No fluff. Hit the subscribe button and ring the bell. See you when the Fed strikes.